Hi, this is Dave Emmi. It is April 11th, 2015, and I'm here in Hecksherville, Pennsylvania, in front of St. Kieran's Church. As you can see, this is the sign, St. Kieran's. And let me tell you a little bit about this venture, why I'm here. This is my second visit that I've had the privilege to be at St. Kieran's. I was here on the day this closed back in 2008, and I was really impacted by being at the closing ceremony of a church. I didn't know that the Catholic Church had a ceremony for closing churches. So it was the first time I was ever at a mass with that intent. And I was really moved by it. And I investigated the situation further, and I wrote a book called Now Divine Philly that I'm here promoting. I was in Pottsville promoting it, and Pottsville's not far from here. So I drove back up here, which was my catalyst for writing the book. And that in front of you is St. Kieran's Church. We're on Neumann Lane right now, going to St. Kieran's Church. Next to it is a rectory and a convent and then an old schoolhouse. Those were built later. St. Kieran's, I think, it's like 1857. You know, it's in my book. It's in front of us. But it has a special tie to John Neumann. This is a sign, looking a bit weathered these days. It says, John Neumann land, the saint walked this ground. It gives the dates that he was here. He dedicated the church. My guess, he might have been here even more than this, but there's at least 3 documented times, I think verbally, many more than that. He was here, he dedicated it, and it's really kind of a shrine to him in a big way. But he died 16 months after he dedicated this church. And I could talk a lot about John Neumann, but while I walk up Neumann Lane up to the church, the disturbing thing is it's been closed, and there's really not a plan for its future. And as far as some of the people who may play a role in it, I mean, there's the Archdiocese now. It's in, or the Diocese of Allentown now controls this, where it was Philadelphia when it was made, but, you know, the Philadelphia Diocese was broken up later into, other dioceses. So the Allentown Diocese has it now. I live in Philly, and it's, the church has too many properties right now. It's trying to sell it, sell off properties. So, I'm certain that answer isn't within the Catholic Church. There's also really not a congregation that can support it. Hecksherville doesn't even have 100 people in it. So, it was a mining town and a mining community, and mining back in the 1800s was like oil is today. So, and this is where a collection of Irish lived in this valley. Like, different valleys had different ethnicities. The Poles might have lived 2 hills over. Sorry, getting out of breath here. I'm out of shape. The, Italians were a couple other hills over, Lithuanians, etc. But this is where the Irish kind of congregated around a certain mine. And this church right here, it was 1857, and the miners built it. And when I came, it was beautiful. And I just took a look at it. They're dismantling it. They're taking statues down, and from what I can see in the inside, they really gutted a very colorful interior. It's a little disturbing seeing it. But, there isn't a congregation here. So I think if there's a solution, I guess there's A and B. There's a solution, or B, the solution is let it go. Things change, and, life moves on. I'll give this a little bit more of a view as I talk here. In that realm of, life goes on, everything changes, etc. Okay, there's really nothing to be done. If people lived here, they don't anymore, and, get over it. So, there is that kind of perspective, I understand. But if that isn't bought into for a number of reasons, we need to find somebody who can take this on and find another use for it. To invalidate the who cares? It's part of life. Here, I'm walking on the side. I'll show you the view a little bit better. This Neumann is the first bishop canonized. I think he's the first American canonized saint there is. So he has a special tie to America. He made the whole diocesan school system. So everything from Villanova to Notre Dame to Fordham to St. Bonaventure to you name it, they all owe him in some degree and are working off the model that he made. When all the immigrants were pouring in from the mass emigration, Neumann was there to set up churches for them. So he set up over, something like 70, 80 different churches. He's kind of the George Washington of Catholicism. He in North America, he really formed a toehold for Catholicism to take root and spread. At least they didn't do anything to the Blessed Mary statue. And there's the Irish flag there too, obviously. That's still there. This is nice. They've taken away some other things that were here. And, geez, if I look in this window, I'm sure my heart is going to break. Let me look in here. Oh, yeah. They gutted this thing. Well, we have pictures of what it looked like. I don't know what the new... Took out the stained glass. This is just heart-wrenching. Anyway, they're not going to build buildings like this anymore. This wasn't built by the Catholic Church, as the church knows. This was built by miners, and they all donated to it. A lot of these people's ancestors now live in Philly or New York. It's really not that many generations ago, like great-grandparents. This is the view. It's a great view. You're overlooking this hill, and it's April, so it's really not in color right now, but when it is, it's breathtaking. It's really peaceful. It feels almost spiritual. It really does. It's like a spiritual kind of place. But again, they're not going to build something like this again. And it's very manageable. It's not, the basilica. It's really a manageable kind of property. And assuming the Catholic Church isn't going to play a role, because they'll say, we're not about buildings, we're about congregations, etc. Okay, fine. If they're not going to play a role, then there's, I think, two other alternatives. One, the Irish. And the thing about the Irish themselves, they don't live here anymore. They're gone. They've been gone for over 100 years. People all have their own lives, and anybody connected to this is usually kind of an elderly person who's trying to remember their grandmother or something. So the new generations, they're gone and have been for a long time. They're shopping at the box store right now. They don't really care about this. And, they've got kids, and the kids want to go water skiing. It may not be the greatest place for that, raising a family anymore. There's really not anybody living here. So I don't think the Irish themselves are going to step up to the plate and make it an Irish kind of monument thing. In Philadelphia, or just outside, there's Neumann University, based on, titled after John Neumann. This was Neumann's favorite church, legend has it. Certainly, he had a particular interest in it. There's no question there. I have pictures of all the murals that were inside. They're probably in a neighboring congregation somewhere, I would think. But this is the church, and there were statues. You can see the bases of them that they've taken down. And they've taken some stained glass, and something has to be done here, folks. This is just, heartbreaking. Anyway, next to it, I think that's the rectory, and that's a wooden building. And, if it was in Philadelphia, somebody would rehab it for sure. Out here, I don't know, maybe it's too far gone. It doesn't look like it, but it has a stone foundation, a nice stone stairwell. I don't know, if cost come down, I guess you level it and put up a Walmart house or something. I don't know, but next to it's another stone building. I think that was, one of them's a convent and one's a rectory, or was. And it was used also as a hospital to help miners who were injured. I should just walk up the steps here. God. We could take a peek in the window or something. Yeah, maybe this was the convent. because I think the convent came after the rectory. The stones look totally repairable. The rest of this looks like I could fall in if I walk on it. You know, maybe this goes. I don't know. I'm trying to look inside here. Wow, scary. Statues, Christian statues. Maybe that's where they're storing the statues that they took down. I don't know. Looked in there and saw a face. Don't scare me. You got here. Okay, it's a locked door. Again, this is really quiet, peaceful, and I can't tell anything. Almost spiritual. It really is. Funny. Oh, sorry, I don't want to fall through this porch. There's a valley in front of us. They call it the Irish Valley, and then another hill, and you can see probably mining, like anthracite or some other. You see heavy industry that's also emblematic of many, these extraction industries, what they're doing to the environment. And this is an entire subplot to all this. This area was, what it was to the Industrial Revolution. It was kind of like what Texas oil is to the economy today. And I'm getting off point. Anyway, okay. This other building, I think this was the rectory, because that looks all stone. I guess you put a new roof on it, do some windows, you're pretty much there, I would think. The schoolhouse, I know this was in like the 1900s. I want to say like 1916, 1917. Again, it's a concrete foundation, stone wall around it. I mean, even if that has to go, I don't know. Maybe that's the answer. Get rid of the wood buildings and keep the stone. Something has to happen, but I think this Neumann University, this would be a great place for like educational sabbaticals, or certainly the spiritual component to the university. This is his place. Go to Newman's favorite church. So any kind of theological component, this easily fits in with that. I believe the church in Allentown would sell it for $1 or something. It's really not looking for a for-profit thing. It's more wants to retain it and keep it in good stead. What would be better than that with Neumann University? If it's not that, I don't know what local preservationists tried. There was a group, Friends of St. Kieran's, and they tried for about 5 years. They folded tent. I don't know why, but I know that they had an effort, and I've met a couple people associated with them. They seem like nice people. Actually, they seem like committed to this place where, because their ancestors are probably buried right here. So I'm making this video. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to go to my truck here. I hope you're hanging with me. You're not too bored yet. I'm making this video really to promote the preservation of St. Kieran's. There's a whole Molly Maguire angle in with this, too, which really has to do with the beginnings of organized labor. Maybe organized labor gets involved. I don't know. It seems to me that Neumann University has an obvious nexus to this region. It's about 100 miles from here, So, anyway, sorry to take you back out here, but I want to show my book on this videotape. Let's see if I can try to hustle with you. That's the schoolhouse, right? Doesn't look like it's in too bad a shape. Actually, it looks pretty good. Who knows? Could be termites or something. I don't know. Doesn't look like it. Big building. Anyway. My book. Here it is. Divine Philly. Philadelphia's vital role in Christian America. Okay, there's the commercial. The book's going to tell this story more in depth. Anyway, folks, that's it. Visit my website, www.daveemmi.com. Thanks.